How's it going, YouTube? Mike with Premier Reptiles. Today I wanted to talk about some ways to keep your iguana healthy. Over 90% of iguanas that are born in captivity end up dying before they reach the first year of age, which is kind of sad. Their immune systems aren't fully developed. Anything that's a baby is more susceptible to disease. So one of the first things is obviously having a healthy diet. You want to make sure they have all the nutrients they need to help fight off anything that might get in their environment that could cause a problem. So iguanas need mostly greens. Their diet should consist of 70 to 80% greens. I use collard greens because it's very high in calcium, which is important for their bones. Mustard greens, dandelion greens, Swiss chard. There's a lot of other greens you can use. I mix it up, but right now I have collard greens. And you just want to cut it up nice and small for them. And then the remainder of their diet should be split. Mostly a vegetable like acorn squash. I only have a small piece of this left, but it's like green and orange on the outside, and then this is what it looks like cut up. So if you had a diet that was 80% greens, 15% acorn squash or mango or papaya, that type of fruit, and then the remaining 5 to 10% would be other fruits such as bell pepper or banana, you can use watermelon. There's a whole chart of foods that is on the Green Iguana Society's website. I'll put a link in the description, and it tells you all the foods that are safe to feed your iguana, how often you should feed them, and it also gives you a calcium to phosphorus ratio, which is very important. In the iguana's overall diet, you want to have a 2-to-1 calcium phosphorus ratio, twice as much calcium as phosphorus. So this diet is pretty good. This is very high in calcium. These are higher in phosphorus, lower in calcium. So what I'll do is not just feed them the vegetables, but I will take a spice grinder and I'll put my greens in there, and then I'll take, this is Repashy crested gecko food, and this is basically a bunch of dried fruits ground up and to a very fine powder, and it's also fortified with some extra nutrients. And the reason I add this is because they seem to like it. It tastes good and it has some extra nutrients in it, and it has some other fruits, so it has quite a wide array of different things that I'm not going to go buy at the grocery store because then I would fill my whole fridge up. Also, that helps hide this, which is Calcium Plus, also by Repashy. There's other companies that you can get stuff through. We just use Repashy because they're very reputable. This calcium powder, the iguanas seem to avoid the food that has this on it, unless I hide it by using the crested gecko food. Or Pangea has Pangea fruit diet. You can buy that in a large bag. It's almost the same thing as this. It says crested gecko, but you can use it for other animals. So I'll make sure they're getting plenty of calcium. It says calcium plus, it's calcium and a whole bunch of other nutrients. But calcium is one of the most important things for lizards. So all the supplements are based on having a lot of calcium. So I'll take all of that, put it in this spice grinder, and grind it up so that way when I eat the food, it's blended together with those supplements. And this is a really, really healthy diet. Jasper, the iguana that we rescued, when we first got him, he never really stood all the ways up. He was always kind of lethargic, and once we started getting him to eat this, we keep him on a leash when we take him outside because he runs. He's always alert, he's always awake, his eyes are open more. So this has definitely helped bring him back to life. So I'll take that and I'll just dump it into their food dish. And the last thing I add is I get some of this Zilla fortified commercial iguana food. This says juvenile iguana, and the food for juvenile iguanas as opposed to adult iguanas is fortified with extra protein from alfalfa, which is a good pure plant-based protein, since iguanas are not designed to to digest any type of insect or animal-based protein. So I have their fruit all mixed up, and then I'll just add a little bit of this commercial food on top, so that way he gets a little extra protein. And Diablo, which is my smaller blue iguana, if you saw the Reputor video, since he's been eating this stuff, he's really grown very, very fast. When we first got him, he was a little bit sick. We took care of him, and we got him on this diet, and he's growing tremendously fast. I can't wait to see how large he gets when he's fully grown. So basically that's it. That's what you want to use to make sure that they're getting all the nutrients that they need to grow in size and to fight off whatever types of things might be in their environment that aren't clean. Besides this, the other thing you should do to keep your iguanas healthy is give them iodine baths, and Chelsea's going to show you how to do that.
Alright, so we got Jasper here. He's a green iguana, and we're going to show you how to give him a bath. Now, the first thing I do is I usually get a big container, bigger than his body, and I'll fill it up with a couple inches of water so it fills like right below his stomach, so it's touching his stomach, so he gets all soaked. And I use pretty warm water because they're cold-blooded animals. So I just scoop him up. He doesn't necessarily like baths too much. And I place him in the water. It's okay, buddy, it's okay. He doesn't necessarily like it, and he tries to swim around in the water, but as you can see, there's enough water to soak him and get all of his underneath the body, and you can just bring the water above him. And then I will, it's okay, buddy. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And after I soak him a little bit in the water, I'll put betadine, which is an iodine. And this helps kill or neutralize any bacteria that could possibly be on him, that could get him sick. You don't want that, because then that could lead to bacteria infection or scale rot. And I usually put enough so the water is like a nice orange, like that. And I usually try to keep his head above the water because you don't really want him to drink any of it. He's also shedding right now, so this is a really good idea to do to help him shed, like his spikes in his legs. Come on, buddy. And after you think you washed him enough, just get a towel. I usually like grabbing onto it and just dry him off. After that, if you would like, you could always add bacitracin. This is just regular old bacitracin zinc ointment. You don't want any additives like Neosporin has. And you can rub it on the areas where he's either shedding or like any areas that could be hurt or scratched. I usually do his spikes when he's shedding. And usually they enjoy it quite a bit. And then you have a clean lizard.